Groceries. When you are 10 years old, even if Michael Pollan is your father, Fruity Pebbles are fun to eat on Saturday mornings. When you are 26, even if you know better, shrink-wrapped chocolate chip cookies are fun to eat on Saturday nights. With food, it's not just easy to look the other way, to ignore the ingredient label. It is, in fact, delicious to do so. On a Saturday morning, Michael Pollan is a father who'd rather relax than explain to a 10-year-old why the corn syrup in his processed cereal is causing his pancreas to overproduce insulin. Although it is impossible to speak of food without discussing the dysfunction in how we now grow, prepare, and eat it, this is not a book focused on what's gone wrong. Michael Pollan, for one, has already led the charge of uncracking the truth of a food system gone astray. Since Pollan wrote The Omnivore's Dilemma and Gary Paul Nabhan wrote Coming Home to Eat, the epicenter of his 220-mile local food experiment just south of Tucson, where I live and where my year Unprocessed unfolded, and Barbara Kingsolver left Tucson to write Animal Vegetable Miracle, consumer consciousness has swelled. Awareness has shifted. Local, organic, sustainable. All these are words now in the public vernacular. But in early 2012, when I stopped eating processed food, farmers markets accounted for only 1% of total food sales. Organic foods represented only 2% of total grocery sales. If we knew what had gone wrong, why weren't we doing anything about it? This is where I begin. You've likely heard the charge, vote with your fork, but I wanted to test how feasible that advice really is. Today, many of us are stuck between knowing what we should do and feeling like we don't have enough time or money to do it. Eating Unprocessed was my attempt to find another way in, unburdened by should do, focused instead on can do. Change is hard. Small choices gain inertia and turn into habits, and we are all busy, broke, and stuck in our whirlwind cities. But if Susie Orman writes money books enlightening the young, fabulous, and broke about their financial futures, then this, I hope, is some small manifesto for the busy, urban, and broke about their edible futures. In the spring of my senior year in college at the University of Denver, I saw Al Gore give the famous PowerPoint presentation that inspired the documentary An Inconvenient Truth. I had seen the film the previous Christmas with my sister and mom. Those 2 hours sitting in a dark theater horrified us. The world was beautiful, it was whole, and we were breaking it apart. And then the credits rolled. The theater lights lifted and we walked, knob-kneed, out of the theater. Our fears dissipated into dinner plans. The evening I went to see Al Gore in the flesh, I was on the precipice of all those decisions that come with college graduation. Riding the light rail downtown, I read a few pages in Ernesto Guevara's Guerrilla Warfare. I was taking a senior seminar about Che, and although I wasn't into the icon's militarism and ego, I was enthralled by his boldness, how he'd stuck his thumb into the spinning status quo and changed how one small part of the world worked. I was enthralled, but in my life, being this bold, Che bold, felt incompatible with an infrastructure already in place, one that included careerbuilder.com and an apartment lease. As commencement approached, we graduates were told again and again, be bold. But I didn't really know how. I wondered, does boldness exist only in military fatigues? Could it also wear a sundress and flip-flops? Al Gore was, as I expected him to be, amiable and twangy. But unlike the movie experience, I was actively in my mind and body as I listened, fidgety and lacking the distance offered by film. The lights in the convention center never dimmed, and so they didn't rise. I carried my terror with me all the way home. It was all happening now. Chemicals in the air, a sweating world. It was now, 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I called my dad, a quantum physics professor, arbitrator of big decisions. Right?